What's up, folks? Scooter here today with you on my thoughts on the Polaroid Cube Act 2. This little thing right here. It's $30. Records in 720 and 1080. Frames per second on the 720, I don't know. I just simply don't use it. It's got a magnetic base. Nothing to, well, let's see if we got it here. Got a magnetic base on the bottom. So you can like hook it up to, I don't know, the hood of your car and drive 100 miles an hour and watch it blow off the hood. The lens is fairly well protected to a certain degree. I mean, it's still a wide open lens, nothing to protect it exactly, but as you can see, it's slightly recessed inside this little black portion. And so what that does is it keeps the lens from sticking out too far. And whereas the 4K cameras, they usually, the lenses stick out, and so they're very suspect of being dragged across the parking lot face down, if you will, or susceptible to damage unless you put the waterproof covering on there. And I can tell you from experience that doesn't fly too good. So, my thoughts on this. Well, some of the pros would be, number one, it's cheap. One of the things that attracted me to it is I saw a video of, like, you know, one of their samples of a kid swinging, and it was going up towards the sky and then back down to the ground, and the light transition changes was pretty quick, and I like that. My old sport camera, which I don't even know if I got it here, had very, very slow transitions. They used to sell this on Best Buy a long time ago. I mean, as you can see, this thing is a tank. Not very easy to fly with, even with a 6-inch butter quad. So, anyway, so this had very slow transitions. This had one hell of a quick transition time, so I like that. It's fairly simple to use once you understand how to use it. It's kind of a gripe a little bit on my behalf, though, because you got to push the button down for 3 seconds and it'll turn on. But the thing is you have to wait after that, probably another 3 seconds, and then you got to do a double tap real quick, tap, tap, and it'll start recording in whatever video mode that you want. I didn't know this because I was, you know, I'm impatient. I want to start going, so double tapped it and it turned off, and would take a picture and then turn back on again, and bob, you know, back and forth and round and round. So keep that in mind if you're going to get one of these. Another pro. It's tough. It's pretty tough. I have laid it on its head a few times, guaranteed. All grass hits, though, out in the field, so I haven't hit any concrete with it, because if I'm flying over concrete, I'm just not going to go that crazy yet. Let's see. So there's that. It's cheap. Not waterproof, but water resistant. It's got very good audio. So if you're thinking about getting the Wi-Fi version of this, you might want to think twice, because I've seen a couple of videos that said the audio wasn't as good as the Cube Act 2. The Cube Act 2 has excellent audio. Okay, so basically what you want to know is probably, is this an FPV camera, or a recording style camera, for a drone? The answer is kinda, sorta. It's meant more for being a vlogger type of camera. Reason being is it has image stabilization. So if you're just doing really slow, you know, talking head sort of thing, and you're moving around, and yeah, I dropped my beer on the ground, blah, 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 you know, that kind of thing, it works great. For flying around with a drone, it's a little tweaky. Point in case is the field of view with the image stabilization on here is 140 degrees, but the problem is the apparent view from the front of the camera being 140 degrees makes it seem like your image is sitting way out here, And so any little tiny bobbles, you know, with the drone is magnified in the view. So you'll become real self-conscious about, you know, gosh, suddenly I'm flying like crap, what happened, you know. That's part of the reason why, is because it's got a narrow field of view. I thought it was supposed to be the same as my L2, but it didn't run Chem L2, that is. As far as field of view, and I figured it'd be similar, but it's not. Case in point is the nighttime flight video. I did a backflip next to a parking lot light, and in my FPV camera it was on the verge of the camera, but you could still see it on the left hand side. With this, it looked like I was just randomly doing a backflip in the middle of the parking lot with no real subject in sight outside of, you know, just doing the flip itself. So the field of view compared to what your FPV camera is, for some of you this is not a surprise, is smaller. So when you think you got this in your FPV camera, and this says it's about the same angle as the field of view in your camera, or one camera, some of the cameras, anyway, you know what I mean, it's actually this much smaller. So if you like this is what you see with this camera, when in actuality you think you got this and you don't. So you have to keep your subject matter in view, and it's a little hard to do when you're in the heat of the moment and things are looking good. So there's that. That's probably the number one reason why, you know, GoPro style cameras are better, is because they have a wider field of view, so you can actually see off to the peripheral the same things that you're going to see in the FPV camera on your drone. Some of the cons I don't like about this is that, number one, you can't turn image stabilization off. For the overcast video, when I came around the tree and straightened up, it looked absolutely robotic. And it was like, that I reviewed it from my DVR and my goggles, and it was like, no, that doesn't look the same. Let's see, another thing is the image stabilization has a hard time keeping track of where you're going to go, so it makes it seem jittery and bouncy a little bit. I mean, it's not awful bad, but it's noticeable. So it'd be nice if it was able to shut off that image stabilization. Also, it has like a wandering eye effect when it's just sitting there, so that's also kind of weird, which makes me think that the sensor in here is actually bigger than just regular 1080. So it'd be nice if you could shut off image stabilization and have the option to have the bigger resolution. Let's see, what's the other con I can think of? Not too bad. For 30 bucks, you really, I mean, it's fine. It's kind of a dual purpose thing. You can put it on your drone, fly around, get fairly decent footage, and do a vlogger style sort of thing. What else? Color grading. The color grading, I've seen better. I've seen definitely worse. Such as one of my sky shots, you could see a rough color grading going across the entire sky from the clouds to the farthest edge, and you can see steps in the color grading. Is it a deal breaker? Nah, not really. Not really. I mean, for a budget camera, what do you expect? So would I recommend this? Sure, absolutely. This is, you know, for getting started and recording those awesome videos that you've always wanted to get going on and stuff like that, or as just a little backup, just, you know, because you smashed your 4K camera. That's basically as fragile as an egg, if not worse. It's great. 30 bucks, you can't beat it with a stick. One caveat is, do not buy the red one. Don't buy the red one. I've looked on some of the reviews on a website, we'll just say, Amazon website. I'm not just going to blop that out. And all the problems everyone had was always a red camera, and that was the first one I got, was a red camera. I sent it back via the warranty guarantee, ordered the blue one instead. Never had a problem since. The black one I can't say, but I suspect that's the same situation. It probably works good. Just stay away from the red one. Alright. Well, now that I've talked on long enough about this, I'm gonna go fly. I do have one little other thing though. Just gonna give this a try. SQ11. Or I'm sure there's plenty of other cameras that are exactly the same thing. You can see how that works out for a rear-facing camera. But I'm not reviewing it. I don't like really reviewing stuff, to be honest with you. Unless, I don't know. When the spirit moves me, then I'll do it then. All right, later.